name's Dee, and welcome to Sunchild Tarot. And welcome, Leo, to your monthly reading of July. I'm sorry I didn't do my traditional monthly readings last month, so I hope you caught my reading with using Yu-Gi-Oh cards as clarifiers, because it was a lot of fun, and they were good readings. They were exciting readings. So, as a general reading, this is for Leo Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. You can look at it through the prism of whatever area of your chart you're using to pick the reading. So if it's Venus, it's love, money. If it's the Moon, it's emotions. If it's your rising sign, it's how you are presenting to the world. But more importantly than all of that, what I would like you to do prior to this reading is ask a question. Now, obviously, I'm not going to know what it is, so take a moment, think about the questions that are around you, identify all of them, but focus on one of them. But just be aware that the cards will pick what they want to answer. But if you focus on one of them, it gives energy to the process. Hopefully, the reading will make sense to you. So, general reading rules apply. Timing is far from absolute. If someone else appears in this reading, I might get you and them mixed up. I'm still not totally swayed by that idea, but I can see how technically it could happen. And if you don't know your moon and rising signs, there's a link down below, well, 2 links, I think, to go and get yourself a free birth chart. There's also a link down there for the Facebook page for this channel. That has its own inbox. So if you want to approach me for a personal reading, that's the way to do it. It's the main way to do it. You can go by the link tree and end up on my Instagram and all sorts, but Facebook's the best way. I sort of hate saying that, but it's true. It's the best way to contact me. So thank you to any returning subscribers. And yeah, if you want to hit that like button, or even better, the subscribe button while you're here, do feel free. It really does help the channel. And now 2 minutes 9 seconds, that's not bad waffle. Let's get on with the cards. So what I'm seeing for you, Leo, is I think recently, very recently, just leading up until what's going on now, right now, I think that you are being protective over something that you are building. And the way that you are building is more clearing space. Queen of Swords here. There's like, you know, if you want to build an outhouse, first you've got to clear the land, then you've got to flatten the land, then you've got to put the foundations in, then you build the outhouse. So I rather think that to a certain extent you are in the process of clearing the land at the moment, because circumstances have shown you that hard work by relying on yourself has shown you, driven you to, or enabled you to make some form of, and no judgment here with what I'm saying this, but a selfish decision. And I don't mean that as in at the expense of other people, or like, I'm doing this, stuff you, Jack, or any of that. What I mean is, no, I'm doing this for me. And I'm doing this because it's the right thing for me. It's how I am going to progress forward. And I accept that it's going to be slower forward progression. That seems to be one of the themes this month about everything. Is the 4 readings that I've done up until now, 3 of them was like saying, do it slowly, no need to hurry, do not rush, you'll make a mistake, do it slowly. And I think you're like, yeah, this is going to be slow, but this is what I want to do. We have a divine pairing, King and Queen of Wands, in the how you are feeling. It's almost like you've brought 2 things together in your life that suddenly they've just clicked. Oh no. There's a good symbol, eh? But they've just clicked and locked. And you are being presented with a choice. Am I going to really go ahead with this or not? And so right now, I feel like you're clearing the land, so to speak. You're cutting a few things away and weighing up what your options are, weighing up what needs to be gotten rid of, or does it actually need to be got rid of is another question that Queen of Swords brings up. But you are making a choice here, the Lover's card. So underneath this, there may be some form of partnership brewing on the horizon, but because I will say divine pairing here on how you're feeling, divine pairing in the very recent past, in the obvious recent past with the Emperor and the Empress as well, but I'll get to that in a moment. But the thing is, you are being asked to commit to something because it feels like the right thing to do. Okay, we have Keter from the Oracle of Emanations, representing the crown chakra, representing the crown of the tree of life, representing the first emanation of which we could ever hope to be aware of the Word of God. So are you going to join with this? Are you going to commit or not? Because you haven't got a lot to work with, Five of Pentacles here, and it all looks a bit weird. Hanged Man. There's almost with this, there's a feeling of, I will want to make a decision when something happens, or I will want to make a decision when something shows up. But the thing is, this thing is not going to happen or show up until you have made that decision. So if you are hanging in for waiting for some news, waiting for some event, waiting for some, I don't know, change in the economy, change in somebody else's life, change wherever it may be, and you're like, I'm not deciding until I know. I'm afraid this time it's you decide, you act, and then the changes, we have the World card here, then the changes come in for what it is that you are wanting to accomplish, which I think there's been a lot of people really putting their nose to the grindstone, and let's face it, you're more than prepared to do it, but your decision, Ace of Wands here, your decision, Justice, is the driving force here, the one that kicks this Ace of Wands into motion. So yeah, you had made this recent selfish decision, and like I say, selfish in inverted commas. But that decision, where it's going to take you, is changing, growing, blossoming. That was the first step. And now you're in a space where, do I keep going with this? Do I commit to this? And you've got very little to work with. But my impression here is, yeah, commit. You've already taken the first step on the path. And you're well aware, Knight of Pentacles here, Knight of Pentacles here, you're well aware that it's going to be slow progress, as we've been discussing, but you put the work in, it's victorious progress, which is going to be healing for you, but it also means that you'll be giving up on a lot of other dreams, other ideas. There's, but that's pretty obvious. If you make a choice to go for one thing, as opposed to another thing, then you have the one thing and the another thing has wandered out of your life. And that's only fair. There is a point here that you can't have your cake and eat it. You either have cake, which will go hard and eventually rot, or you eat cake while it's nice and fresh, but once you have finished eating cake, there is no more cake. So there is the make that choice to commit, because you've been through plenty of transformations in the past which created burdens for you, but so when you've done something like this before and ended up in that poverty type period where there's not a lot to work with, when you've done it before, it created some form of pain, but that pain created a transformation in you, which ended up with you taking on a burden that got you to a good place and got you to start really questioning your motives. That's in the distant past. But I think it's this first pile of, oh, I've done this before and when I've had nothing and it went wrong, it hurt. Yeah, you went through that period to experience it going wrong so that you can experience it, to be quite honest, going right now. Because I do feel quite positive, but with that hanged man, wherever he was, here he is. With that hanged man, I'm feeling that there's a lot of what? You know, everything's, there's delays, there's confusions, there's illusions, there's untruths, there's importantly self-deceptions as well. So you feel like you have very little and you're on shaky ground. But the reason that you're on shaky ground is the ground is reforming itself. And so obviously it's going to be shaky during that process. But last time you tried to do something like this, there was opposition. That opposition, I think, is something that you've walked away from recently when you've turned around and gone, no, I am doing this now. I can see where the opportunities are. I can see that I need to plan to go ahead with this. You planned, you committed to that plan to get you where you are now, and now you're led to defend, protect everything and go, do I go further? But if you go further, it's slow progress, but it is victorious and will speed up as long as you keep going with the work. Because there is a point where you're not nearly there yet, but you soon will be. And that's the really important thing. You soon will be really nearly there. So, out of the alternate futures, right, stick to your higher principles. We've got the Hierophant again. So I think there was one over here, and that's the third Hierophant I've seen anyway. I forget where the others are. There is that sticking to that crown chakra business, sticking to them. What is my highest intent in this situation? And the highest intent is to improve yourself, thereby improving the lot of those around you. So it is selfish and it isn't selfish. But if you ask me, with sympathies towards the philosophies of what would be called black magicians, there are no acts that are not selfish. And you know what? To quote A Course in Miracles, that's okay. If you are improving yourself, that's brilliant. That's also selfish, but it's brilliant. Because by there being a new improved you, the lot of everyone around that new improved you is improved. So that is something that is for others as well. It's the whole put your mask on first sort of situation. So whether you are doing, I don't want you to do it, whatever this thing is. I don't want you to commit to it because it makes somebody else's life better. I want you to commit to it because it makes you better and therefore makes someone else's life better. That's a secondary reason. You know, that's irrelevant. And there's so much understanding that will be coming your way. We've got Lelahel here with the light of understanding. There's looks like this is going to be quite a lesson driven period, because right now there is a hell of a lot of, I hadn't thought of it that way, or I hadn't looked at it like that, or hang it, that turns everything on its head. And so there's this constant bombardment of information, some of it coming from quite a long way away now. Uranus, for the, maybe not Aries, I can't remember now, but the idea of something coming in from a long distance away and affecting everything has been present in all of the readings, either through Uranus or through the star card or both. So unless we're being invaded by aliens, which, you know, the rather disappointing report was just released. So, this, who knows? Um, but yeah, unless we're being invented by aliens, I think there is some event coming up that's going to make a lot of people question a lot of things, but in a good way. It seems to inspire, it seems to bring people energy to pursue what it is that is good for them. Although I accept that other people, they're all right, but they're putting a burden on you. There's somebody around putting a burden on you, and as much as you are, you're wanting to balance it, it's almost like they are trying to make sure that you've got your thing and their thing, their burden that they're placing upon you, but they're wanting to trip you up either regarding the burden they've placed upon you or your own efforts, so that they can point out that you can't handle both. And I want to turn around and say that I feel from here that's utter balderdash. That is nonsense. You can very well cope with both if you so wish. And if you want to put down the burden that someone else has given to you, that's also okay. That is fine. Because it may take quite a few things away from you, but standing on your own 2 feet is not a bad idea. This is not, moon card here, this is not an illusion that you are chasing after here. It's something, this is a hard and fast goal that, okay, it's fluffy around the edges because you're in the process of exploring. Just, I know my goal is over there, but do I know the precise trajectory? Do I know precisely what it's going to be? No, there's a lot of freedom in that still, because there's a lot of discovery to happen. But you commit to it now, things start moving, and as I say, they get faster. However, if you find yourself this is the other side of the alternate future, or another alternate future. This is where, okay, it's all confusing, so I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to stay exactly where I am. But notice this card. There's rays of sunlight coming down, thawing away the snow and ice behind him. So one, he only has to wait. But two, how long did he stay there to get iced up like that in the first place? There's this sense of, do not be, even if there's something that you are confused about regarding this decision that you're making at the moment, just make the decision and start moving towards whatever it is that you're wanting to move towards. Because if you don't, you end up in other people's debt, and really on the receiving end of not bad information, but the receiving end of harmful information, the receiving end of something. I'm getting something nasty with this Page of Swords here. Now, I can't remember, is it the Page of Swords or the Knight of Swords that's supposed to be the cyber stalking card, but it is bringing to mind like the idea of some tweet that you wrote when you was drunk 5 years ago. It suddenly gets publicised and you get cancelled. That sort of bad information or nastiness. There's nothing necessarily untrue, but it's totally out of context, and it's blown up out of all proportion and pays no attention to who you are right now today. Which you have started paying attention to. And what I am encouraging you to do, Leo, is to continue paying attention to it, because you have a good dream to follow, but you have to build the structure with it. Yes, it's going to take balance. So yes, you may be quite happy continuing to carry this burden that someone else has given to you, but you have to be careful that their attempts to trip you up do not impede your progress. There's you should be able to dodge every time they stick their foot out and just dance around and saying, see, I can do both of this, I can do all of this. Because there's plenty of other feet being stuck out from other directions as well that will bring, in the end, better stuff. But this structure that you're wanting to build, but this is the Devil card. I think it's, actually, I would assume this is the Dark Grimoire Tarot, which for some reason I was guided. It's not my favourite tarot, but I was guided, so I'm using Spellcasters, Wheel of the Year, and Dark Grimoire. I would assume that this would be Cthulhu, but it's more like Dagon. But I think it can't officially say it's a H.P. Lovecraft inspired tarot, but it's a Devil card nonetheless. So on your future final outcome for that matter. So let's see. Oh, okay. There's a few wanting to come out then. Let's leave it with that. So we have Five of Pentacles with Samagina. So again, there's this idea of not having a lot to work with, but guidance being on offer. That's the important side with the, if you think about the Five of Pentacles on the Rider-Waite deck, there's the light shining through the church window. There is the opportunity to take shelter in the church, because where you see them on the card, okay, this isn't the card, but where you see them on the card, they've just got to walk past the church, round the corner, and go in the front door into the dry and hopefully a little bit warmer. Mind you, it's a church, it's not going to be that much warmer. But nevertheless, it is sheltered from the rain. And we have Page of Swords again, and Two of Swords. Right. I think you should, this decision that you're in that you've half made already, and now you're like, do I commit? Do I really commit? Which is what's on the basis of everything that you're going through at the moment with this Lovers card here. Yes, commit, imbalance, and the power of that dream will get stronger and stronger. But the downside is that if you concentrate on what you've not got and remain blind to the guidance that you are being received. So there's some advice coming in here somewhere. Certainly some information, some change coming in from a distance. Maybe the advice is coming in from a distance as well. But even this harmful information that I was talking about, we've got the Page of Swords here again, so it's echoing that. So it looks like that's coming in the longer term anyway. But you're either in a position where it's easy to deal with, or you haven't moved because you haven't made the decision now. So what you are doing right now does have a long-term effect. And I would say commit yourself to the course that you have already started to put into motion, because that was a right thing to do. That's what I get from all of these cards. It was a right thing to do. And you might have felt a bit selfish, and it might have been a bit selfish, but long term, it's the right thing to do. Then when this Page of Swords information comes in, you can weather it by going, ta-da, look who I am now. It doesn't matter. That was then, this is now. Or you can wither under it. That's your choice. But that's a choice that you are making now by whether you are going to stick with what you've already put into motion. But even so, I don't think that's got a particularly bad end. Because the Page of Swords in the Demon Possessed Tarot is represented by the Goetic spirit Botis. Gives answers of past, present, and future. So again, see what I was saying about the information coming from like a tweet from 5 years ago or some such. You know, it's not necessarily a tweet, but that's a perfect example in today's media environment to talk about. But then also, it's an energetic card as well, keeps bouncing around. Reconciles friends and foes. So I'm wondering if this here, this Page of Swords, is someone having an outburst of going, but 3 years ago you did this and this and you left me in this state. And you might be able to say, okay, you're right. What can we do about it now? And be in a position to be able to do something about it now. If you've committed to whatever your current course of action that you've just started is, if you've committed to it, you will be in a position to go, okay, let's sort this out. And you will have the tools, the resources, everything that you need to actually do it. So right now is a very important time, and it's very important, and there's not a lot of resources around with that repeated four Five of Pentacles coming up, if you include the Demon Possessed Tarot. But Expect Miracles is the card from the Gateway Oracle, and I think that is only right. You can expect miracles if you are committing to this higher purpose, this sort of being the best of yourself to improve the lot of others, but also to improve yours, because why not? And then finally, the Angel Prince of the South. I let go of all pain and tension as I float in the sea of divine love. So South to me represents, you'd think it represents summer, but to me, I always sticks in my head to represent winter. But this, there is a lot of letting go here that you have the opportunity of doing now by committing to this course of action that you've already started. Because you might say, yeah, but I've already started it. I am committed. No, you've already started it. But there are doubts at the moment that, of course there are, but stick with it. Literally sort of, stick with it. Anything that needs to be answered, it will slowly unfold itself before your eyes. And I let go of all pain and tension is the releasing of, not necessarily releasing the tasks. I'm not saying that you are releasing the burdens as in your responsibilities, but I am saying that you are going to end up releasing either the burden or the feeling that it is a burden. You find the point of, you know what, this used to really annoy me that I had to do this, but now I'm really pleased that it's me doing this. There's that sense of accomplishment there. There's the chance that something that you see as a ridiculous responsibility is now becoming better that I do it than anybody else, because hey, I do it right. So there you go, Leo. I'll leave you with that message of, hey, I do it right, because I think that's a lovely one to finish on. So if this means anything to you, you don't have to tell me why, but please do comment down below. Let me know, because it's always good to know that these readings have reached the ears of the people that they're meant to be there for. Hit that like button, as I said, and subscribe. That's be very grateful for. And now go and watch your Moon and Rising if I've uploaded them already, because some will be today, some will be tomorrow, possibly some Saturday. See how tomorrow goes. All right, cheers.